This is a special summer lecture. We don't normally start our regular lecture season until September, so this is kind of special. So for those of you that are here, we're really excited, and if you aren't already on our mailing list, please, 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 I definitely encourage you to do that, because we do tend to have some very special guests come and visit us throughout the year that we like to let our fabulous visitors know about, and this is the easiest way, is through our email. So the email list, if you missed it or you didn't hear about it, it's actually on the table just out in the hallway. I'm Gina Cerrito. I coordinate the lectures here at the Aquarium, and we're actually supported fully by the Lowell Institute, so we like to thank them every time we do a lecture, because it allows it to be free and open to the public. If you could silence your phones, we would all very much appreciate it. We also offer recycling and composting, so all those fabulous napkins and plates and things that you are using are actually compostable, so we have receptacles, so we just ask that you look before you throw something away. And we would like to also remind you that our next fall 2012 lecture season is actually starting on Saturday, September 29th at 2 p.m. We have Allie Wilkinson, who is a science writer and creator of the site This is What a Scientist Looks Like. She'll be talking about stereotypes about scientists and how most of them do not have crazy Albert Einstein hair and wear lab coats 24/7. This will be a great lecture for students or those that are thinking about careers in science in various fields. So more information on that can actually be found on our website in the Aquarium lecture section. And for tonight's lecture, I will pass it over to Elizabeth Stevenson, who is part of our Marine Conservation Action Fund coordinator here at the Aquarium.
Good evening, thank you for coming. As Gina said, I'm Elizabeth Stevenson. I coordinate the Marine Conservation Action Fund here at the Aquarium. The Marine Conservation Action Fund, or MCAF as we call it, is a granting program of the Aquarium that supports small-scale, time-sensitive marine conservation projects all over the world. Since 1999, when MCAF was founded, we have supported 105 projects in over 37 countries and have given away $600,000 to support marine conservation efforts. Didiher Chacon's turtle conservation work in Costa Rica was supported by MCAF grants in 2011 and 2012, which is why I'm here to introduce him tonight. MCAF is unique in that we are able to provide funding quickly in the case of marine conservation emergencies such as oil spills and mass stranding events. We also play a key role in supporting grassroots and startup efforts in developing countries. And finally, we support important scientific research that helps to further conservation goals around the world. To read about some of the examples of the work that we support, please take a look at the newsletter. It is actually our first ever newsletter that we have provided for you there tonight. So MCAF is generously supported by the New England Aquarium and the Oak Foundation and the Curtis and Edith Munson Foundation, as well as individual supporters. It is also made possible by the generosity of our MCAF Advisory Board, which is made up of professionals and marine scientists who give their time to review all the proposals that we receive. And tonight I'd like to acknowledge Alan Diner, who is here in the audience. He is not only a longtime MCAF supporter, but is also a longtime member of our advisory board. So thank you, Alan. I'm very excited to have Didiher Chacon here tonight, who is a wonderful example of the important work MCAF grantees are having, the impact MCAF grantees are having around the world, and he is a true conservation hero. So let me go ahead and introduce him. Didiher Chacon is currently the Director of Latin American Programs for the wider Caribbean Sea Turtle Conservation Network, known as WIDECAST. And he is an instructor in the Master's Program in Marine and Coastal Sciences at the National University in Costa Rica. Didiher has been working in the field of marine biology and conservation for more than 20 years and has diverse experience studying the marine fauna in coastal areas of Costa Rica. A marine biology graduate from the National University in 1988, Didiher also earned a Master of Science degree in coastal marine management from that same university. He was honored as a recipient of the prestigious Whitley Conservation Award in 2005 for his unique contributions to sea turtle conservation and community development in Costa Rica. He joined WIDECAST as the country coordinator for Costa Rica in 1997 and has since led the development of a comprehensive national sea turtle management plan. During that same year, he was instrumental in the formation of the Central American Sea Turtle Conservation Network and served as its first coordinator, working to harmonize sea turtle science throughout Central America. He has authored or co-authored dozens of scientific articles, and in addition to presenting much of his work to national and international scientific audiences, we are very excited to have him here tonight, honored to have him here at the New England Aquarium. Please join me in welcoming Didiher Chacon.
Well, first, thank you very much for coming to listen to my presentation. And I want to excuse because I am a Spanish speaker and my English is not perfect. I'm trying to improve every time. And always during this presentation, and the stress pushed me to learn more and more English. But I'm trying. First, I want to inform you we have on the table outside two kinds of products that we have with communities in Central America. It's the end of my presentation, but I want to explain because we saw some of you with interest to purchase some of them. The first one is I have just one sample of this. This is one of the bags that the women in Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama, and might be in the rest of Central America will produce. This is made with used grocery plastic bags. And it's already sold. But we approach the people in charge of the shop here in the aquarium, trying to make the first approach to see if it's possible we can export, giving an alternative livelihood to the people that already hunt the turtles, poach the eggs, because they don't have any other opportunity. And this is 100 plastic bags. We call it Upcycling. Yes. And I don't know if you want to pass.
Yes.
And the other one is jewelry. In our region, people kill hawksbills because they use the shell, like a tortoise shell. For many years, people produce glasses. The frame of the glasses is, for me, is like the first plastic that the human being use. And now we are moving these people to produce this jewelry from turtle shell to use bone, cow horn, and coconut wood. And there are some samples on the table. And if you want to sell, this is for 15. Okay? And there are some samples. Okay. Well, thank you again. And I want to tell you what we do in Costa Rica in conservation in terms of sea turtles. First, like Elizabeth said, I am the Latin American coordinator of WIDECAST. I was in charge of WIDECAST network in Costa Rica since '97 as a volunteer. I worked 10 years as a volunteer. I was in another NGO working with sea turtles. But the WIDECAST starts to work in '81 as the turtle branch of the Caribbean program of UNDP's United Nations Development Program, and under the umbrella of SPO. SPO is a protocol to work in the Caribbean area, especially with some species and protected areas. We are a network with 43 country coordinators around the wider Caribbean, but it's a voluntary network. In WIDECAST, only we are 3 persons as a staff. The other are just volunteers. We have people from Bermuda to Brazil. In any stone in the Caribbean, we have someone that enjoys the network. And we have annual meetings as a network. And it's great working network because you can see different ways to create educational programs, to give solutions, to approach people, to approach government, to make lobby with governments. And this is one of the good things with WIDECAST. With the Latin American program, I work, of course, with Spanish-speaking countries, a couple of islands in the Caribbean, Cuba, for example, or Dominican Republic, and then Mexico to Venezuela. In that countries, we help our partners or colleagues to make their projects, to advise them. Much of the work that we make with WIDECAST is giving information to they keep running the project, and also we do some fundraising, or at least say who will support them. Right now, WIDECAST in Costa Rica running 3 projects, one in Pacuare, and another in Cahuita National Park, and another in Osa in Pacific side. Why in the Pacific? Well, because 2 species in the Pacific need help, and the same threats that we have in whole country, we have in Caribbean and Pacific, and we took the decision to move Pacific to help these species. Well, my country is here in the middle of North and South America, and this is Nicaragua and this is Panama. We have 200 kilometers in Caribbean side, straight coast, with a little area of coral reef, 600 hectares of coral reef in Cahuita National Park, and then around 1,200 kilometers in Pacific coast. But we have, because we have a Cocos Island right here, we have 10 times of our size in land in marine territory. Now, by law, last month, our government published our new map will include all of the ocean in the Caribbean and all of the ocean in the Pacific as our map. Because we need to push our new generations to understand it's not only the land to protect, it's also the ocean. And we're working hard to change how our people see the conservation. Well, this is my country, and WIDECAST have the office here, but my country is too small, you can't cross in 5 hours. And our project here in Pacuare is in the North Caribbean, north of Limon City. And this is the project that currently now the fund is we are receiving funds to support this. And last year we received funds for OSA project, mainly for nesting of Pacific hawksbills. And we have in Cahuita, it's a national park here in this point, and we have 2 another associate projects that we give advice, we support them technically. One is in Moín Beach, and the other is in Panama, called Sansan. This is a project with Nove Bugle indigenous community. Okay, Pacuare looks like this. It's a black beach, magnetic sand, volcanic sand, with rainforest behind the beach. And mainly we receive leatherbacks in that beach. The length of the beach is 7.1 kilometers, and we receive leatherbacks from March to July, with a peak in April. Is between 15 of April to 15 of May, and a peak the peak means you can see 50, 75 leatherbacks in one night. Depend the years, but this year, only this place, we received more of 400 leatherbacks, sorry. And then the success rate that we have in this place, because the main threat there is poaching, we move the eggs to hatchery, but success rate is over 60% in the place. Also we have Hawksbill turtles, and this is in very declined shape in the world, as the leatherback is declared globally critically endangered. And we have few nests in Pacuare Beach, and they have 2 peaks of nesting. One is in May and the other in September. Success rate is great for this turtle, and is over the 80%. Then we have green turtles. In Costa Rica, we have one of the hot spots of the Western Atlantic called Tortuguero, and we are south of Tortuguero. And season is not already in the peak, and we expect we have over 200 nests for this year. The threats that the turtle has in my country is meat. All of these threats are illegal by law, but the people still using the turtles. because it's very deep in their culture or because they don't have opportunity. but we're trying to make actions against these direct threats. People hunt turtles by the meat. With the meat they produce oil to produce cosmetics, sometimes illegals without permit. In 2002 we sent a laboratory to the court because they are producing cream using real turtle oil and with legal permit. And at that moment government, some agencies like the health department knows they cannot permit use a wildlife species, and they didn't know before. Then as society, we use eggs because people think they are aphrodisiacs. And it's one project in my country in the Pacific side with olive ridleys because they lay in lay eggs. Oops. Let me see. They are poachers. Okay. It's optional and it's legal around the season because the same population lay eggs in the same time, and there are millions of eggs during the year. But in many of the cases, there are eggs from leatherbacks or from greens or hawksbills, and then they kill turtles for make this kind of jewelry. Also, they use other parts of the body of the turtles to produce, for example, this drink called mamajuana. Is some part of the turtle going the liquid with part of plants and trees, and they think they give to you better performance for sex, for example. And you can see this. This is a liquid not only for Costa Rica. You can find in Puerto Rico, in Dominican Republic, in Panama. Other indirect threats are, for example, turtles confuse jellyfish by plastic bags, and this is why we make the project with the plastic bags in that communities. In all rural areas, we don't have service to pick up the garbage. People usually burn it, helping the global warming, or they just make a hole and put the trash in the hole. And now we are taking the plastic bags, the women are washing and making this project to produce these nice weaving bags. Other impacts that we have in the coast: bycatch by gill nets or long lines, erosion by ocean, especially with the global warming. We are losing many parts, many areas with nice beaches. Sand mining: people take the sand to fix roads, to build buildings, or just to cover some areas in their properties. And without sand, you don't have a good place to incubate eggs. And this is the kind of garbage that we have around beaches after floods. And the peaks of rainy are increasing by the global warming. And every time that you have a pulse with 3 days of strong rain, you have floods, and then you have a lot of this garbage because these floods wash everything around. And we need to clean up the beaches by hand to remove all these things. This organic matter use the oxygen and increase the temperature by putrefaction, and the nesting females cannot reach better places to lay eggs, or the babies cannot hatch very well, or they have blocked the way to the ocean. With these threats, we developed this project in Pacuare, mainly making beach patrols to know about the dynamic of the population, to know if it's increasing or decreasing, and particularly to have presence, because if you are there, poachers cannot take the eggs. We use as a tool the hatchery. We move the eggs to a hatchery to incubate, and because it's easier to protect. And all of these things we make, the first two things we make following the national protocol by our government. Then we clean up beach by hand, and then we have a rescue center, because in the case of hawksbills and the greens, poachers and hunters sometimes try to cut the turtles, producing wounds. And we make after visit the facility today, I can say we don't have a rescue center. We have something like a hospital in war times. You know, in the wild, it's just a shade and tanks and good intentions. But even in the clinics for human people in my country, We don't have the machines that you have here, like the laser and X-rays and all of that technology. Okay, this is a standard patrol, and I invite you, if you want to be volunteer also, we receive volunteers. This is a standard patrol. This guy is taking the leave of the nest to have make an artificial nest for the eggs. We collect the eggs in a plastic bag, and we recycle the plastic bag after washing them. And we move the eggs warm to the next location, right? Respecting pivotal temperature and all of the parameters that you need to know to don't affect the natural process of the turtles. Because if we leave the nest there, poachers comes after we go, and they take the eggs, and the final position of the eggs are in the black market. And also we take metrics, we put P tags, metal external tags, and all of the standard thing that we make with the sea turtles. Then we have huge groups of volunteers around the world helping us to clean up the beach. We move all of this garbage to the forest. In the forest, they transform to be nutrients for the forest, stopping the erosion also, but helping to do these things don't affect the incubation process for the baby turtles. Also, we separate the plastics, and we follow a list, an international list to select every item. And we are trying to know what is the source of the plastic, like the banana plantation sometimes. And this gives to us the knowledge to try to approach these people to discuss how they dispose of the plastics. Particularly because many of these, they trash in the rivers. And now we are very close to have an MOU with Chiquita Brands. Is the company to produce bananas, because they use plastic bags to cover banana fruits. And we cannot use in this project. That chemical, that plastic bag have pesticide inside of the structure of the plastic. Then we train everyone that visit the project, including nationals and international volunteers. We train it to develop the protocol with us. And also, we make exhumation of the nest to know what's happening with the turtles, with the baby turtles, with the nest during the incubation time. And by this technique, we know what is the success rate of each species in the project. Then the hatchery, and again, we use the materials that we can find there, like bamboo. We put a shade, and this shade is because we found in black beaches the problem with the temperature. Sometimes during April, the temperatures reach very close to 30 Celsius degrees, and this is too much for this species. And this is why, by government, we get the permit to 50% of the nest we put under a shade, keeping cold the nest, and trying to produce males. And then this is our rescue center, just tanks and people with good intentions. We know we have a standard protocol to make the first steps to work with the turtle. If we see the turtle needs more help, we have an agreement with the National University, with the beta school, and we move the turtles to that place to receive the medical attention, the correct medical attention. But sometimes we can do there in the place. This is our some of our outcomes or results. This is the production of the hatchery. We just make a hole because we don't have enough plastic containers to keep them, because we take the weight on the length of each baby as a part of our protocol, and then we release. This is like 5 p.m. in a standard day in the hatchery. And this is a model that we works with the student. This model includes the currents, temperature, and wind in the Caribbean. And in the model, we release bodies like the size of the leatherbacks. And this is when where they are 6 years later using that model. And you can see how they keeps here. Here is an eddy, it's a current that move around, because the main current from the Caribbean cross through here. And then they go north to the Gulf, then east in the east of US, and then to the Atlantic. Now we know our leatherbacks have feeding grounds here in the north. We have a lot of returning tags from the east coast of US, then Spain, Morocco, and UK. They return our external tags. Some of outcomes of results in Pacuare, 470 leatherback nests. Maybe we have now more because the nesting still continued very low, but continued 64% of success rate. We patrol 180 days of patrol, 350 volunteers. Maybe increased during the last 12 days. 15 green turtle nests, 6 hawksbill nests. In Cahuita, this is a coral reef, it's a national park. 40 hawksbill nests, 90 days of patrol, and 89% of success rate. And this is good because this species need attention. And in Moín, this is the other project that we work as an associate project. 1,100 leatherback nests, 10 green turtles, and 1 hawksbill nest, and 51% of success rate in situ nest. And I want to show you. Let me see. No, sorry. Okay, I got it. This is what's happening when the poachers. Oops, no video there. Okay, let's go. This is the graph and how is the nesting in one of our beaches. This is a port, and this is the nesting of leatherback. You can see the yellow is April and the green is May. And this is the behavior, this is the kind of work that we do when we patrol. We collect all this information, and we know now what is the places that they prefer to nesting, and to develop a strategy to protect these beaches, especially for to work in alliance with the government. Now we change the coast. We move from Caribbean to South Pacific in Costa Rica. This is OSA. I know some of you knows the South Pacific, mainly because you visit Corcovado National Park. This is how it looks. We have sandy beaches in the area. We have good rivers, but with the problem of sediments. Sediments affecting seagrass, and this is the kind of seagrass that we found in Osa Gulf. This gulf is not a real gulf; it's a tropical fjord, and with very special waters. In the center of the gulf, we have pelagic waters. It's too deep, and we have whales, whale sharks, and also these species of turtles. One of the threats that we are handling now is a kind of disease with a crustacean affecting particularly the hawksbills. In the same place we capture for monitoring greens and hawksbills, and only the hawksbill shows this problem, and this is the kind of turtles that we are finding there with this kind of crustacean. And when we capture them, these turtles with this problem, but they are alive, we just put in the rescue center in freshwater bath, and we eliminate all of these things. But I'm talking about later about that. Okay, in OSA we make monitoring of Hoxic nesting. It's a project that the Aquarium support last year in water monitoring, rescue center, and mangrove recovery. We work mainly there with Pacific green, and this is a huge discussion if it's a green turtle or it's a black turtle. And you can see this is a yellow turtle or black turtle or maybe orange turtle. Well, it depends who you read. Some people agree it's in a subspecies, other people say it's the same green that you can find in Hawaii, in Caribbean, or here in the Pacific. The real thing is looks different, and the black turtle is a turtle that the distribution is in Mexico to north of Peru, and if you compare with the Caribbean turtle, looks different. But genetics say same animal. Okay, but we work with these animals and also with the Pacific hawksbill. For years and years, nobody knows what's happening with this species because we don't report a lot of nesting. even that we make the monitoring, the number of nests in OSA, in the South Pacific Costa Rica, are really few. But when you dive in Cocos Island, or you dive in Nicaragua, or you dive in the north of Costa Rica, you can see many juveniles. And always where they came from. Well, like 3 years ago, partners found 2 new places, one in El Salvador and another in Nicaragua, in the north of Nicaragua, in the Padre Ramos Reserve. Now there are places with 400, 500 hawksbill nests. The trick thing is they lay eggs in the high tide, and usually the patrollers for sea turtles, we walk in the low tide to see the beach. Now we know they lay eggs in the high tide and they go under the bush to lay the eggs. But now we have projects there under the initiative called ICAPO, Iniciativa Carey del Pacífico, means the Pacific Hawksbill Initiative. And we are helping these guys to coming up again. But the problem with the parasite is an issue that we have now, because we receive reports from El Salvador, from Nicaragua, and from Costa Rica, whole coast, about these things. This is one of the hawksbills that we find with the problem, and this is in a freshwater bath. Then the monitoring with these guys. This is babies of this lady, and we monitor in the nest and we protect them. The few nests that we have in Osa Peninsula. And this is the coast in front of Reforestation. This is the sunrise, and I invite to come as a volunteer. You can enjoy Costa Rican coffee, and you see this. This is the Gulf, and this is the rescue center. It's in a very basic facility, you know, with tanks, and we receive. This is one of the few cases that we receive with. Before this place, after this place, we create this place of Olive Ridley, because before we create the center, we have this situation. We handling this stranding in November 2010, and in any container that we have, we put turtles. And after that, we took the decision we need to do something, at least to have in containers with quality of waters. And we developed the center with the help of Humane Society. And this is some of the pictures about our work there. Right now, we have students helping us. We make analysis of blood, counting cells and the chemistry of the blood. We have a student making her thesis in hormones. Now we know some of the guys, the green turtles that we capture are males by hormones, and even that we cannot see the land of the tail. But there are some pictures. This is our ambulance. We're taking blood, we're putting tags, and we make some partnership with airlines to move the turtles to the hospitals, and we're training volunteers. This is the kind of size of greens that we are handling there. You know, we prepare the blood to send to the university using all equipment. And this is the seagrass. And the new thing is, nobody knows the seagrass were there. We speak with some of the experts, marine experts, people with more years of our group, and they say they never report before a seagrass there. Maybe it's because in the watershed there are some kind of agriculture with rice and oil, palm oils, and now they are using some of these fertilizers, and the places grow up and the turtles come. We don't know if they are opportunistic. We are trying to know by the test the health of the turtles, if the sediments affecting the seagrass indirectly affect the health of the green turtles. And this is the kind of places that we dive sometimes. Also, because they are very important in the rivers, we have a mangrove reforestation program. We have you call it nursery here. We collect the seeds that we find floating around the mangrove, and we have some areas like you see, just leave some trees because people cut it, and now we are planting small trees to recover the mangroves and try to mangroves help us to clean up the sediments, the pesticides. and to recover the quality of the Ozark wolf. This is some of the results of the overall project there in Ozark. This is the size of the greens, around 70 centimeters, 75. This is also the minimum size for reproduction, but we have some guys here under that size. But for hawksbills, we mainly work with juveniles, yeah, and a couple of animals with the size to reproduce. This is one of the greens that we released with a satellite tracker, and this turtle teached us the greens go up in the rivers, following the mangroves, enjoying the fresh water, and then go down. And we are trying to put the same satellites to hawksbills to know if the hawksbills go to fresh water, why the parasites don't die. And we think they just stay there in the rocky shores or the reefs, and they don't migrate a lot in the case of hawksbills. Well, some of the results are 35 turtles rescued, 185 green turtle sampled, you know, including tags, blood, everything. 2 satellite trackers, one in the 2010 and one in 2011, and 47 hawksbills turtles we capture and we sample, and 25 kilometers of bleach cleanup. Especially, we remove plastics and other garbage in mangroves with local and international volunteers, and 5,000 mangrove trees. WIDECAST based the work in these strategies. First, conservation and monitoring is the thing that we make daily. Alternative livelihoods, some of these ideas I bring to here with the products. Public outreach, and you see how we work with the schools, mainly with the schools, college, high schools, to be volunteers to participate with us in the projects. This is me. We don't have electricity, and we have just plastic fact sheets with pictures, and we train the people using this thing, sitting with a green turtle in my legs. Shared initiative, and that means we share projects with other countries, with other organizations. Strategic planning, mainly with government. Government many times call us to help them to make planning of protected areas or particular marine issues. Sustainable policies try to develop laws or any kind of tool to help to keep running the population of turtles or their critical habitats like coral reefs. And building capacity is trying to training people to move to other places. I have some of my interns, or we call it research assistants, working in Africa, in Gabon, in Kenya, or working in South America and Central America. I remember, and I am not if it's here, Sherry Floyd works in the aquarium. She was in my project at like, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. And now I know she works in the aquarium. And the last thing is Go Blue, Be a Star in the Sea. It's one of the last alliances of WIDECAST in the Central American region. And it's in a project from USAID. It's the US government in Central America is providing support to create a regional certification in geotourism, volunteerism, handcrafts, marine products. We're approaching supermarkets and all of the business around to try to change the life in Central America, to move the people to the ocean, to give an alternative livelihood, but in the same way move the public to be informed about what we make in the area. And these products are right now about the same stamp, and we're trying to approach this aquarium and others to try to be involved in this initiative. Thank you.